Call of Duty went through a weird period of time when guns basically could only be obtained by paying extra money, or to be more specific, paying for supply drops for a chance to get them. Now, during the dark age of Call of Duty, certain guns were widely seen as being intentionally overpowered, and that was a way for you to pay more for supply drops, and thus the pay-to-win label made its introduction to the Call of Duty franchise. In this video today, we're going to look at 20 of the pay-to-win guns from the supply drop era of COD, and down in the comments, I want you to tell me which of these you actually got lucky enough to obtain. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos. Keep in mind, a lot of these are from Advanced Warfare because, well, there were literally hundreds of supply drop guns in Advanced Warfare, and a lot of them, they were way too strong. Drop a like on the video. Make sure you're subscribed for the best COD list on YouTube. Let's see if we can hit 1,012 likes in the first 24 hours. And at number 20, the ARX160 Hole Puncher in Advanced Warfare. This rifle was a 3-round burst by default. Had a solid following because of the consistent damage output and the reliable time to kill. Also didn't hurt that it had a huge 45-round magazine by default, which would help you get, it would help you from not getting caught in the middle of your reload animation, and you didn't really need to rely on extended mags. Hole Puncher variant, but also make things even crazier. Turn up that mid and long range damage, made it a 3-shot kill all the way up through long range, and only requiring 1 extra bullet to kill across the map. I mean, the craziest part of it was that it wasn't even the highest rarity, which encouraged you to just keep opening supply drops. I mean, I think it's a great way to kick off the list. The ARX160 was a reliable 3 to 5 shot kill, but when the 1 burst kill range was lengthened as far as the Hole Puncher variant did, I mean, it was arguably overpowered. Before we move on, guys, if you get any gift cards, check out g2a.com. They have a gift card sale going on all month. The link is at the top of the description. And number 19. The ASM1 Rigger in Advanced Warfare. Everybody remembers how insane the ASM1 was by default. There were several variants that made it even worse. The Rigger variant was a simple one, and all it would do was reduce your view kick by 20%. That was a lot. The ASM1 already had pretty low recoil. It wasn't hard to stay on target with it with no attachments. This variant made it even easier to laser people from mid and long range. You could take full advantage of the ASM1 super generous damage profile. Even though it was an SMG, you could easily treat it like an assault rifle. You could treat it like an LMG if you were using this variant. I mean, it was so easy to stay on target. It wasn't the best variant for the gun, but it was one of the most powerful. At number 18, the XMG Bacon and Eggs in Advanced Warfare. I've talked crap about the XMG many times because I always thought it was super underwhelming. Made you feel like a bit of a sitting duck, but there was a certain variant that made it way more fun to use and a lot more viable. The Bacon and Eggs variant would turn up the base damage on the XMG, so it was always a 4 to 5 shot kill regardless of the distance, and it gave you a 60% damage boost for headshots, which that seriously sped up the time to kill on the weapon. Now, the issues with the XMG existed, but with time to kill being much more consistent and in many cases much quicker, it was a much more viable weapon. I thought it deserved a little shout, and it's got a cool name. At number 17, the NX Shadowclaw in Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 was the first game in the sub-series to launch without a crossbow. Treyarch, well, quickly made up for that with the NX. It was locked behind supply drops. Not only was the Shadowclaw locked behind a random number generator, it was also the best crossbow in COD history by a landslide because it was semi-automatic with really good ammo capacity, and you could put a bayonet on it. So it was semi-auto, insta-kill no matter where you hit the target. You could panic knife people with it if they got too close. If the Shadowclaw had been given to everyone, maybe it wouldn't have been an issue, but it was in supply drops. And it was a controversial addition, to say the least, to a game, and I definitely think it's qualified as pay to win. At number 16, the S6 Stingray in Black Ops 4. Now I know what you're going to say, Jimmy. You're going to say technically you didn't have to pay for DLC guns in Black Ops 4 because technically you could grind challenges for a weapon bribe and technically you could get the gun you wanted for free. Well, the problem with that was the simple fact that grinding for weapon bribes took forever. Those challenges were even available all the time, so about 95% of the time you were stuck playing supply drop roulette if you wanted these new guns. So I'm making BO4 guns eligible for the list. I mean, come on. The S6 Stingray, way too strong. I mean, it was absolutely a tactic to get you to buy supply drops in bulk in order to get it. I mean, a 2-round burst tactical rifle with explosive bullets, who thought that was a good idea? It was busted. It was really busted until Treyarch nerfed it, and if they hadn't nerfed it, it would probably be in the top 5. You could shoot the floor next to someone and still kill them instantly. That's stupid. And even though They were technically free ways to get the gun. We all know people were buying supply drops in bulk, trying to snag it. At number 15, the VMP in Black Ops 4. Same deal here. I know you could technically get this thing for free, but how many people actually managed to get it for free? The VMP was one of the most overpowered weapons in COD history. I still don't really understand how Treyarch could have justified to each other that it wasn't broken. Time to kill amazing. Mobility amazing. No recoil. Huge magazine. Totally outclassed everything in the game. The only reason I'm putting it so far down on the list is because I know there was technically ways to get it directly through gameplay, even if hardly anybody ever managed to do that. But yeah, the rest of the guns on the list, they're 100% locked behind supply drops, and they were undeniably pay to win or pay for an advantage at least. But I really wanted to put these OP Black Ops 4 guns on the list somewhere. Just didn't want to put them too high, but they needed to be here. At number 14, the Havalina AA50 in Black Ops 4. I lied. Crap. Couldn't resist doing one more Black Ops 4 gun because this one was stupid, and I feel like it's been getting a lot of attention recently on other lists, so why not talk about it one more time? The sniper was semi-auto, solid fire rate, great ammo capacity for a sniper this strong. It was a really easy one-shot kill, and didn't have any recoil for some reason, so it was super easy to land follow-up shots if you somehow got a hit marker or if you were going up against multiple enemies at once. This was probably the best sniper in the game, and it was locked behind the weird DLC system of Black Ops 4. Okay, I promise. Now we're going to talk about guns that were 100% locked behind supply drops. At number 13, the MP11 Goliath in Advanced Warfare. Pretty low damage, but very quick default fire rate. It had, I think, 920 rounds per minute. Gave it a solid time to kill if you could stay on target. I mean, it would typically take 4 to 6 shots to kill, but then along came the Goliath variant. It would increase the mid and long range damage, made it a 4-shot kill at mid-range and a 5-shot kill from across the map. So it still did have the difficult recoil to control, but it now had a damage profile that made it one of the hardest guns in the game to go up against, assuming you could stay on target. Now, a lot of people insisted the MP11 was one of the best guns in the game as long as you were using this variant, and I don't disagree. Then again, there was one other MP11 variant that I think was better, and we'll talk about it soon. At number 12, this was the first supply drop gun I pulled, and I used it out of the gate for a while. The AK12 Rip in Advanced Warfare. The RIP. I have a soft spot for the AK12 in this game because of how accurate it was and how easy it was to stay on target. The time to kill wasn't great, but the recoil was so low, made it pretty satisfying. And if you wanted to lean into the AK12's accuracy, the RIP variant was going to be your best friend because it would not only reduce your view kick by 20%, it would also increase your minimum damage to 25 a pop. Made it a 4-shot kill from across the map, and it was also one of the easiest guns in the game to use. So it didn't have the best time to kill, but it was way easier to stay on target with it, with this variant. I mean, it was good. Now, I think it only had a 20-round mag, which was the only kind of downside to it, but this was a good one, and it looked cool. At number 11, the BAL-27 Inferno in Advanced Warfare. The BAL already had insane time to kill by default, very manageable recoil by default. One of the only downsides of the default BAL was the fact that it had a relatively slow fire rate compared to the rest of the full auto guns in Advanced Warfare, but that's where the Inferno comes in. This elite variant would increase the fire rate from 705 up to 857 without increasing your recoil or reducing your accuracy. Think about that for a second. That's insane. The only downside of this variant was you got a 30% nerf to your ADS speed, but if you just slap the quick draw attachment on it, you don't even notice. Some people would argue this was the best BAL variant in the game. But since I've got it at number 11, I obviously don't agree with that because we all know there's one lurking in the shadows. At number 10, the MP11 Royalty in Advanced Warfare. I told you we had one more MP11 variant. The Royalty variant was literally just the Goliath variant, but it had an additional buff to the range. So still had the new damage profile, made it a 4 to 5 shot kill no matter what, but it also had a much more forgiving range drop off on that 4-shot kill profile, and there weren't any additional consequences to use it over the Goliath variant. So if you thought the Goliath variant was dumb, Royalty variant was literally just that variant, but upgraded. Come on. What a wild time. At number 9, the M16 in Black Ops 3. I said in a different video not too long ago, I think this is the second best version of the M16 in COD history, and I stand by that today. Black Ops 3 M16 had a decent fire rate, had a really good damage profile. It wiped the floor with most of the other mid and long range weapons in this game. No recoil, it was a hit scan, so you didn't have to lead your shots, and the damage profile was forgiving enough to make it a one-burst kill from across the map. You just clicked on the enemy, and poof, they were gone before they could react. It's not quite as insane as the COD 4 version of the M16 since it didn't have the 2-shot kill potential, but it was close. At number 8, the KF5 Breakneck in Advanced Warfare. By the way, how many of these did you pull? The KF5 was more or less just the Advanced Warfare equivalent of the MP5, meaning it was that middle-of-the-road SMG that didn't do anything particularly well, but it was also reliable and consistent enough to get the job done. It was easy to use. But then you had the Breakneck variant, which would give you this massive fire rate buff that was almost overpowered. I think by default, the KF5, I think it was 870 rounds per minute. The Breakneck, it cranked it up to 1,016. Gave it one of the best TTK values in the game. Yes, this variant also disabled a lot of the attachments, but why would you need them if you could kill this quickly? You just run this variant naked and then use those extra slots on your class to load up on perks. At number 7, 1911 and Black Ops 3. I don't know whose idea it was to basically turn the 1911 into the Deagle in the game, but that, to me, is more or less what happened. Black Ops 3 1911 was added to supply drops quite some time after the game came out. While it was still the dinky-looking handgun that we remembered from the classic COD area, Treyarch, they gave it a huge damage buff. They made it a sleeper pistol to the point it could deal over 50 damage a pop. 2-shot kill up to mid-range. So it was a pistol with pistol-level mobility, super low recoil, and a high fire rate, and a 2-shot kill. It literally had the power of a Deagle in the body of a standard handgun. Again, I don't know who decided it was a good idea, but that's what happened. And that's not even the most OP pistol in supply. At number 6 today, the Marshall 16 in Black Ops 3. This was one of the first guns added to the game. Still one of the most talked about to this day, probably mostly by us. Marshall 16 was the shotgun pistol that could be fired once before needing to be reloaded. That sounded like a solid balancing mechanic on paper. But then it had absurd damage and ridiculous range. Made it an insta-kill in most situations. Then once you unlocked the akimbo option, you were off to the races. You could make it an insta-kill in basically all situations since you were effectively doubling the one-shot kill range by firing 2 of them at the same time. It was arguably the best pistol in Black Ops 3. Yeah, locked behind supply drops, which to me just felt really scummy and dirty. With how much random stuff was added to drops over time, it was almost impossible to get these things. Now we arrive at the top 5. The Moors Quickbolt in Advanced Warfare. The Moors was basically the only sniper that people used in Advanced Warfare. It was consistent, but if you were a sniper, you were constantly trying to get your hands on the Quickbolt variant. As you know, the Moors was a single-shot rifle. Basically always a one-shot kill, but the Quickbolt variant would slightly decrease your movement speed in exchange for noticeably faster reload times, which would make you even more of a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. You had other Moors variants that had reload speed boosts, but they usually came with drawbacks. The Quickbolt variant would keep you ready to go with hardly any penalties, and that is what it made it so desired by all the snipers in the game. At number 4, I had this one. This is my favorite variant in Advanced Warfare. The HB3 Insanity in Advanced Warfare. It's one of my favorite guns in there. I mean, it fired slowly, but man, it hit like a truck, and it had some awesome firing sounds and hit feedback. One of the most desired variants in the entire game was the Insanity. I mean, it was an elite variant. Make your hip fire spread 10% worse in return, you got a massive fire rate and damage buff. Fire rate was increased from the default 625 rounds per minute up to 750. Plus the first 4 rounds, they would come out at 1,000 rounds per minute. I mean, the time to kill on it was crazy. And the damage, the Insanity variant would give it a ridiculous time to kill up mid-range. I mean, the damage would be boosted. It was 40 damage up close, 33 damage at mid, and 25 at max. Made it a 3 to 4 shot kill no matter what. And yeah, it was dumb. I remember people freaking out when they finally pulled it, myself included. At number 3, the ASM1 Speakeasy in Advanced War. Probably the most talked about SMG variant in the game, of course, because it was just buffed to infinity. It was already one of the most spammed weapons in Advanced Warfare, but the Speakeasy variant turned into this OP futuristic Tommy gun, and it had massive balancing issues like most of the variants in the game. Speakeasy was not only giving you an integrated extended mag, it also gave you a huge fire rate boost by default. This thing fired at 750 rounds per minute. Then it gradually decreased down to 674. Speakeasy fired at 869 rounds per minute, which drastically sped up with your time to kill. The only penalty for using this was a decrease to your long-range damage, which you would never notice because nobody was using the ASM1 at long range. It was virtually always a 3 to 4 shot kill, and it was firing way faster than the default version, and it had an integrated extended mags. It was completely broken. If you were lucky enough to get it in a drop, you probably never stopped using it. At number 2, the BAL Obsidian Steed in Advanced Warfare. Perhaps the most infamous weapon variant in COD history. I mean, it took the insane base stats of the BAL, made them even better in every way with no consequence. With all the weapon variants, it was expected that the buffs would come with some kind of trade-off. The Obsidian Speed, I mean, you had these gigantic buffs. The trade-off was so tiny, people didn't notice it. It would boost the barrel's damage to make it a 3-shot kill all the way out to mid-range, then a 4-shot kill from across the map, and the trade-off was a tiny little nerf to the fire rate, but only during the first 4 rounds, then it would speed back up to normal. I mean, there was also a teeny tiny nerf to your hipfire spread, but nobody noticed. The Obsidian Steed was completely broken. It was probably the most sought after variant in the game. Heck, some of you probably expected this to be number 1, but I'm going to throw a curveball at you. At number 1 today, the XMC in Black Ops 3. I think most of you knew it was going to be here. Treyarch announced a remake of the fan favorite MSMC, and most of us were happy, but when it actually came out, everybody got pissed. It was blatantly overpowered, featured unbeatable DPS values in the body of a super mobile SMG with hardly any recoil and really good range. Treyarch basically took the MSMC from Black Ops 2, which was already one of the best guns in the game, and they buffed it in every way possible, and then they locked it with a key behind supply drops. I know they eventually nerfed it out, so it's not quite as OP now. When it came out, whew, you ask me, this is the most frustrating pay-to-win gun in COD history, both before and after the nerf. Let me know where you guys agree or disagree. Let me know 1 or 2 that didn't make the list. See you soon.